Okay, well then that can tie into my next question, which is how I've been co-creating some contrasting experiences in my life. Or, I have a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old son.
But now we want to call it creating.
Just creating?
Because when you say co-creating, you want to give them credit for what's happening.
Right.
When you say creating, you take responsibility for your vibrational output over which you have total control. So there's more power in the concept I create my own reality than there is in the concept I co-create my own reality, because you might screw my reality up.
Exactly. So the reality I've been creating is a reality of I have a 10-year-old boy, and he gets angry sometimes. I get angry sometimes, and he seems to get angry when his power is taken away from him.
How odd. Maybe you can whip that out of him.
And then when he gets angry, then my wife gets scared. And then when she gets scared, then she'll call me up or bring me into it. And it's difficult for me to, then I'll get scared that we've done something totally wrong here.
But now stop in light of what we've been talking about here and just ask yourself, what is the natural consequence of someone feeling powerless? In other words, so your son feels powerless. Source, who is very aware of him, is seeing him, beloved, come this way, come this way, come this way. And the call that he hears is right into anger. So he's moving in the right direction. And if he were only listening to the call within him, he would move from powerlessness into anger, into frustration, into hoping, into believing, into knowing, into love. And he would do it so fast. But he's got people around him freaking out when they see him get angry.
Yes.
So he loses his way, because it's hard to hear the call of source when your mother's screaming in your ear. You see what we're getting at?
Yes.
In other words, this is what we said when we want you to be so selfish that you don't give a rip what anybody else is thinking or saying. But it's a hard case to sell. In other words, kids hear it really easily. The teenagers are loving our message. Their parents are ruining the day they ever heard it, because parents want control over a child who wants control.
Right.
And as we were just discussing, the child is the one who will control his own experience. He is the creator of his own experience. We appreciate very much your explanation, and people resonate with that because it's sort of the way it goes. Most people are reacting to the condition. They're reacting to what they see rather than finding their center and then responding from that place of alignment. So here's what you can do. Now you understand, and we think you do, that it's not abnormal for your son or anyone to go to anger from a place of feeling powerless. So what you want to do is, in your mind's eye, acknowledge, first of all, that he is not powerless, and then role play in your mind different ways than you can think of to convey to him your awareness that he is not powerless. Now, children who are born to parents who have felt powerless learn to feel powerless. In other words, in your nation pushing against terrorism, Jerry and Esther heard the other day that they're thinking about bringing back the duck and cover routine to classrooms, how to deal with terrorism. And it just made Esther weak in the knees to think that these children are going to be subjected to more of these fear tactics when there are adults around you that are trying to teach you fear, which is equivalent to powerlessness. It is natural that so many would begin becoming angry in their response to something that they cannot abide in. In other words, every part of their little beings knows that they're not supposed to feel that way. So your son has this incredible advantage. He has a parent who understands that it is natural to get angry from a place of feeling powerless. And then as you role play in your mind your knowledge that he's not powerless, and you actually begin to feel proud that he is hearing the call and moving up the emotional scale, and even further you begin to demonstrate it in your own experience. Something happens and you feel powerless and you display anger in the presence of your child, and then you say, you know, I feel so much better now I'm mad than I felt before, when I felt like there wasn't anything I could do about it. And I don't want to stay angry because I know I can feel so much better, but I believe that anger is a step in the right direction. Now I'm going to see if I can feel less angry. And as he begins to watch you demonstrate the way you take your power back, oh, he already knows it on so many levels, you see. Never be afraid when you see someone angry. Instead, feel happy for them, that they have improved the way they feel, and then wish for them something that feels even better. And when you really get that in your consciousness, the uplifter you will be for people. You see, his mother feels powerless against his anger. And then, as you said, you start second guessing, what have we done wrong? What have we done wrong? And oh, we so much want to shout it so that everyone hears it. A parent has done nothing wrong when he has a child who is angry. You want to live the example of one who moves up the emotional scale. You want to live the example of one who knows how to close the gap. You want to live the example of joy, but you never want to give anyone that you care about, you never want to give anyone the impression that it's wrong for them to feel however they feel, because how they feel is about their points of vibrational relativity, and it is guidance. You don't look at your dashboard on your car and see the gas gauge which reads empty and find discomfort in it and judgment, and then so you just stick a happy face sticker over it. There, that's better. Because you want to know how your tank's doing, you see. You don't put Novocaine in your fingers because it's bothering you that you're banging them. Oh, it's so uncomfortable to bang my fingers on things. I think I will just deaden them so that I do not notice it. You want that sensitivity so that you can make decisions that are better for you in the larger scheme of things. And your emotions are that sensitivity.
So in the family dynamics of things then, when Nate has his expression and I can help him to move up the ladder with my own creative ways of thinking and viewing things, what then happens is then my wife and I get into a dynamic of judgment and anger, and it seems like Nate can get out of it quicker than we can get out of it.
Of course he can. He was never invested in it to begin with. But here's the thing that we really want you to hear. So he feels powerless over maybe something that doesn't even seem that important to you. But that's what we meant earlier when we said you don't get to judge. You don't know the points of vibrational relativity in any other. So he gets angry about something because it's his way of feeling better than the powerless way he felt before. And then as you give your attention to that from a place, let's take it away from you for just a moment and talk about parents in general. If your angry child makes you angry, you are not in a position to lead him up the emotional scale, because you're as out of control in your feeling of powerlessness as he is. Right. So you can't teach him anything.
Right.
But if you've taught yourself that you can feel better than angry and you can feel frustration, in other words, a parent who feels frustration over his angry child can lead the child. A parent who feels absolute love over his angry child can lead the child. But if the child makes you angry, you're all in deep doo-doo.
Right.
And those are the dynamics that you're talking about. We're all out of control, we all feel powerless, and we're all just taking it out on each other, you see. And that's why grandparents are so good for children, because they're removed enough that nothing makes them angry, and so they can always maintain that attitude of well-being no matter what's going on, you see. But everyone can do it. Everyone can do it. And now you understand it. There's no reason for you not to do it. The most important thing that we want to convey to you, please Next time your child gets angry, which makes his mother angry, which makes you angry, don't beat up on yourself about it. Just say, I know what's going on here, and I can improve the way I feel, and I'm going to work on it before the next episode, because it's very difficult to work on it within the next episode. In other words, you got to lay in your bed and love your kid and love his mother and appreciate and yourself. In other words, you got to work yourself into those better feelings before that incident happens. And then you've got your sea legs. And then next time you see your child who feels powerless getting angry, you're standing over there understanding. And you're looking at your child with loving eyes and you're saying, I don't like your anger, and I don't like you to display it in that way, because most people don't understand it and it's going to bring you more trouble. But I sure don't blame you for being angry under these conditions. And here's what I know about it. And son, I've gotten angry plenty of times for exactly the same reason. And then have a conversation about it. Talk to him about what he feels powerless about. And explain to him that you don't think he's powerless. Jerry and Esther have a dear friend, a grandmother of a little child. And the little child was wanting a toy gun. He'd seen them on television. Other friends had them, wanted a gun. And a grandmother says, your mother is dead set against you having a gun. Don't ask me to get you a gun. I'm not going to get you a gun. Oh, please, Grandma, please get me a gun. I could just play with it at your house. Just please. I'm not going to get you a gun, she said. And so one day in the fall, they're walking through the very deep leaves, shuffling through, shuffling through, shuffling through, shuffling through. And Benjamin's foot kicks something, and he digs in the leaves and comes up with a toy gun, which his mother let him keep. And his grandmother said, you see, whatever you want will come to you. In other words, you want to teach your children that they are the creator of their experience. When they fixate on you as the vortex through which all of their well-being will flow, and you are not going along with something that they want, and they feel powerless because they think the only way they can get it is through you, and you've got the door closed, in their feeling of powerlessness, they get mad. And this is the dynamic that goes on all the time. And so what you want to say is, you have a way of creating things. Much of it comes through me. I am your parent, and I want to feed you and clothe you and give you a wonderful life as best I can. But you get to create also, and so much will come. So just because I'm saying not through my vortex doesn't mean you can't create it. That's really what you want to convey to everyone. The dynamics that go on that are the most troubling in most relationships are, I don't feel good and I'm blaming you for it in some way. Powerless, powerless, powerless. I don't feel good and it's because of something you're doing. What a trap that is. Because first of all, that person doesn't have the power to do enough to keep you consistently feeling good. And those of you who have tried know that. Have you ever had somebody in your life that believes that their well-being is dependent upon you? Don't you find yourself suffocated by that? Don't you want to run kicking and screaming away from that?
Yeah.
The only place you will find freedom is in your own empowerment. And that's what you want to give your friends, your children, your strangers, your enemies. If you could empower your enemies, they would stop making trouble for you. If you would give everyone a nuclear bomb, your troubles would end. Because they would all say, don't push your button and I won't push my button. But when I feel powerless, I'll kill you.